Steve Dangle Podcast. Powered by Sports Interaction. Wanna bet?
Steve the Steve Dangle Podcast with your hosts Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
Let's go!
Woo! Monday!
Let's throw food all over the place. It's time for the kids' table.
Let's go! We should get, for the next kids' table, we should get crayons. Like we're at Montana's.
And a paper table.
Yeah,
Jackasters.
Where we could draw all over it. We gotta make sure the audio's right. It's a little difficult to do this when it's all the way over there. There we go.
And there's so many things on the table for you to knock over.
Yeah, no, I got a lid on my water bottle, so it's all good.
Very good.
Steve, how are you?
I'm good. I'm recovering from my illnesses.
And Adam has contracted more.
Yeah. He sounded... I was getting better heading into the trade deadline, and you obviously couldn't... Well, maybe you could tell. I wasn't able to watch all 16 videos we made back, but he got worse. So he needs drugs.
Yeah.
I made a snowman with Leo yesterday.
Okay.
It was fun and enchanting.
I'm glad that you got the opportunity to get out and do that, because it was such a busy day on Friday. Like, as you said, we made 16 videos. We released the podcast on Saturday of the audio all chopped together.
Right.
Hopefully you got a chance to listen to it. You would have heard Adam cough a lot. What did you think about the day? It was a long day for us. It was like 7-8 hours of just making videos.
Yeah. So, and it was 5 of us in this room, which we're not used to. So it was you, me, Adam, Justin Fisher, our new social lead, and Drew Livingstone, producer Drew, and who just sat in that corner on my iMac, just editing everything. And him and Justin like barely spoke.
No.
So the reason we were able to churn out that much stuff is because of those two, and it just left us all to our microphone eating devices. I mean, I wanted to be surprised. You know what I mean? By like the deadline, I wanted
by a big move,
real stuff to pop off. And, and I'm gonna tell myself what I tell myself every year that I'm disappointed with the trade deadline is, just wait for the draft though. And like, it actually does feel like it's been in the world. It's not just hockey. There's less of tomorrow than there used to be. Like there's less forward thinking than there used to be. Like, I mean, the Blackhawks and the Coyotes are hoarding all the picks in the world, and that might, prove to be great for them down the line, but teams are more willing to make ridiculous, crazy decisions than they used to be, and it's great.
Yeah. You think that has something to do with the pandemic and people realizing like,
100%.
We lived through this event that's only supposed to happen every 100 years. Anything could happen.
Yeah.
Like, let's live for the now and make these trades right now and not wait for tomorrow.
I just spent, I only get one shot at life, and I spent greater than 1% of it locked inside my house. I am, you know what? I don't need a first-round pick.
Who knows what happened?
I just don't need it.
Unless you're Cal Dubas and you decide to keep your extra first-round pick that you gained over the week and not flip it for anything.
That's tough. That's a tough one. But, I mean, if it wasn't out there, it wasn't out there.
Exactly. Yeah, he's not going to make a bad deal just to get rid of it, so he's not left holding it,
Yeah.
He's going to take the pick.
What did you think of the day?
It was exhausting. Like, I don't think I've ever had just a create content for 8 straight hours kind of day like that before. So it was fun, though. I think it's something we're going to be doing a lot more in the future. Especially for those like flagship events, like when it's free agency day on July 1, you can expect the same kind of day out of that. Maybe we're going to mix in a little more things because we're going to have, at that point, we'll have even more hands on deck. Hopefully, fingers crossed. That's a tease for the future.
We'll have Tim Houraney doing F1 stuff.
We were getting to that, but since you brought him up, we didn't mention, because it was Friday, it was trade deadline day, we launched an F1 show. It's called Nailing the Apex, Steve, which means...
having sex with someone named Apex.
That's not. Oof. It is when you're making a turn.
Oh,
there's an apex of the turn, and that gives you the optimal racing line when you're going through the turn. So there's an apex.
You know what I like is that I was surprised by the name of the show. Because in our group chat, it's like, we were thinking of this. Okay, we're going to go with this. And then you launch the show with graphics and everything, and that's not what it was called.
No.
So I was like, oh, okay.
Because we had a name initially, and then as you do when you name any show, you got to see what other shows are out there and if they've taken the name.
Oh,
and the one we wanted to go with, there was another show that was like had a decent following that already
32 Thoughts.
That already had the name 32 Thoughts with Elliot Friedman and Jeff Merrick. So we couldn't name our F1 show 32 Thoughts.
Got it.
Yeah. So we had to back off, and then we had to go with Nailing the Apex.
So it's, what is it? Smashing the Apex?
Smashing Apex.
Crushing Pelv with the Apex?
Exactly.
Is that what it's called?
Exactly. That's it. And it's we're calling it a soft launch. Like, I know some people were mad about like the album art because I don't know, people are upset at everything. But it's all very soft. We're getting Tim's headshots done. We're doing proper album art. We'll get the YouTube graphics up to date. We'll have an intro. There's not even an intro on the show yet. There's no audio for that. It's just Tim joined the network the same week as the first race of the F1 season. So we're like, we have to get this out there so we have stuff for every single F1 week. We have to get there before the first F1 race. And we did that successfully. So the podcast is out there on all your favorite podcasting platforms, except for Google, because Google takes it extra long. It takes 7 days extra longer than Spotify and Apple. But Spotify, Apple, Amazon, go search Nailing the Apex, Smashing the Apex Pelv, or on YouTube. You can watch the video there as well.
Sorry, I couldn't even. I was going to say, just railing the Apex.
Railing the Apex Pelv.
Here. Do you want me to? I can make you an intro right now, live on the podcast. Vroom, 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 vroom. Let's talk cars. There it is. So throw that in next time you guys record a show. And there you go.
There's a new show out today, actually, a recap of the Bahrain Grand Prix.
Wow.
Who won, Steve?
Yoshi.
I feel like that's disrespectful to the human drivers.
No, well, I don't know. Yoshi just blue shelled everybody.
Oh, yeah?
And he won.
He blue shelled everyone. Max Verstappen won.
Oh.
Yeah. But there's a curse.
Which I've never understood, because he's obviously Max Vergoen.
Oh, there we go. That's a good one. That was good. You're on it today.
Woo! You know why?
The coffee's good. No free ads.
No
free ads for this delicious chocolate bar.
Later.
Yeah. No.
Chocolate rainbow bark.
It's fabulous.
Ooh, it's really good.
Oh yeah,
it's really good.
Anyway, so yeah, we launched F1 pod with Tim Haraney. It's called Nailing the Apex. If you're an F1 fan, actually, I keep saying it's an F1 podcast. It's a motorsport podcast because. Right. Tim, if you're familiar or if you're unfamiliar, he is a former driver, and he's also huge in IndyCar, in that world. So on his episode today, where he does a Bahrain Grand Prix recap, he also talks about he has a segment about the IndyCar race that took place over the weekend. So if you're a fan of motorsport in general, this podcast is for you. Now, back to hockey. We're talking about trade deadline day. Very exhausting, very long, very tiresome. Saturday, how'd you wake up feeling?
Really good, actually. I was surprised.
Oh, yeah?
Adam's in our group chat, like, I am surprised by how tired I feel. I was surprised by how refreshed I felt. Like, just, nothing extra weighing on your mind. And something about just going to bed really tired. And, like, actually tired. Just, wee. And, God bless Mrs. Dangle, who was basically a single mom this past week. Like, it was... I don't know. Like there was one night in particular. I think it was the day Patrick Kane got traded, and I want to say the Leafs made 3 trades that day as well, and then Ekholm got traded. We had plans like, I'm going to be super dad, and she's going to go to the store. Will I be super dad? And I was just like, I'm so sorry. 5 trades happened. I can't help it.
When you take a look at the NHL calendar, like the season calendar, those 2 weeks leading up to the trade deadline are probably the most exhausting weeks for the NHL media and like the NHL insiders. Because
the insiders, yes.
The insiders for sure. But
it's
NHL
not usually like that for me.
Yeah, for you.
That was insane.
You usually don't create that amount of content for just NHL news in general. It's usually just Leafs, right?
Yeah.
So it's a little different, but that's how it's going to be for you more moving forward.
Yeah. Well, even though I'm making more NHL content, it was just the sheer amount of like trades that you can't ignore. They're too big to ignore, and you have to. Yeah, we can't ignore Ekholm going to the Oilers. He might win a cup there.
Tyson Barrie's out.
Tyson, yeah, and like that's a big enough deal. Like you can't ignore Patrick Kane going to the Rangers. He might win a cup there. Leafs made 3 trades in one day. The only thing I asked for from Kyle Dubas was that he spread it out, and he didn't do it.
He couldn't.
That jerk. He spread it out decently, like O'Reilly, and it started with we were talking about what did it start with. And I said Vlad Tarasenko, but I think you made a great point. Like Bo Horvat got traded before that.
Yeah, and Pierre LeBrun had an article in The Athletic today, and that's kind of he surveyed GMs across the league, and they're like, okay, is this trade deadline going to be the norm going forward, or are we going to regress back to where everything kind of happens around trade deadline day? And that's kind of where they all saw it kick off with the Horvat deal. Kind of forced everybody's hand to be like, oh, things are moving. Yeah, let's get on this.
Yes.
So it kind of depends on like what stars are out there, and if the big star moves early, then everybody else is like, we can't be left behind.
And not every year is going to have a unique situation like Patrick Kane's, where he has a full no move and a $10.5 million contract, and he gets to choose where he's going to go. Like those players are never available. Like the full no move, and also someone who makes double digits. Is he the first player who makes over $10 million to ever be traded in the cap era?
That's a good question.
Well, Karlsson, I want to say, was traded and then signed his deal with the Sharks. Ekman Larsson doesn't make over that. Like, he's the only one I can think of. Not Panarin.
No, PK wasn't.
PK never made double digits.
No. Wow. We should ask Cap Friendly, but I think that's a good piece of trivia.
Yeah,
he might be the highest cap hit ever to be traded.
I think it is.
Yeah,
I think it is.
Yeah, because we've seen buyouts. Like what were Suter and Parise? What were their cap hits?
Not double digits.
Not double digits. Wow, maybe not.
Yeah.
Damn. That's good. That's good.
There's not very many, right? There's like a dozen in the NHL. It's only a handful. Pasternak's gonna increase that number a little bit.
Yeah,
and like you got to be as good as David Pastrnak to even get that number.
Right, and then who's trading you?
Probably not the team who thought you were good enough to give you double digits.
Exactly. And so this year it seemed like there was an extra amount of stars available. Like even the guys who didn't go, like you mentioned, Karlsson, like that's still a guy whose name was in the media for so many weeks. And then you had a young guy like Chychrun who's under contract, who a team is just giving up on because they don't want to win ever. In the Arizona Coyotes, and then you also had like Timo Meier, who's an RFA. That's such another unique circumstance. And then Horvat on a team like Vancouver, who they thought would be good, and just all these different names. Tarasenko on a former Cup-winning team, and Ryan O'Reilly. And just this year there were just so many names, and it really forced these GMs to make these moves early.
I'm looking up right now Bo Horvat age, and it's relevant to the conversation. Okay. He's 27. Timo Meier's 26. Horvat is a pending UFA. Meier's a pending RFA. So you look at this huge windfall you can get for Horvat that we were all talking about. And then there's Timo Meier. And you look at him and you're like, well, gosh, we just can't do it. He's an RFA. And I think teams just sort of change their thinking a little bit. Like, okay, RFA or not, and the fact that he's in his prime, he still does not fit our window. Why are we holding on to this person? Let's just trade him. And it's interesting because everyone's involved. It's not just buyers and sellers. Like the Capitals were in on Meier. The Blues were in on Meier. The Capitals were in on Chychrun. I imagine the Blues were in on Chychrun because a player like that matches everyone's window. And if you're the San Jose Sharks, you're like, well, I don't know. We just don't want to sign him to that number, exactly. I guess. There's all sorts of unique Like, so that's a change in my mindset. Kane is a unique circumstance. Another unique circumstance is we're not always going to have a team that plays in a Radio Shack. The Coyotes play in an abandoned Radio Shack and are not trying to win now or for the foreseeable future. Yeah. Right? Like, not even trying to be competitive. If you have a salary, we don't want you. If you are not playing hockey anymore, come on down. Do you have an insured contract? Come on down. Absolute. Do we have to pay you anything? No. Welcome to the Arizona Coyotes. And of course, probably the biggest factor that we're all ignoring is Connor Bedard.
Yep.
There isn't Connor Bedard available every year.
Did you see that they asked Jacob Chychrun what it's like to play, or Bieksa asked him in particular, what it's like to play in front of so many fans?
No.
I thought it was ballsy of Bieksa to do that on hockey night, but he did it because he's that guy. And Chychrun had like a he laughed, he chuckled, and he had a good hockey answer. But he was like, yeah, there's a lot of fans there at warm up for our skate. You know, it was good to see all the fans out there.
I apologize to whoever wrote this tweet. Someone please send it to me so I can retweet it, because there was so much going around on trade deadline day. But someone goes, wow, Jacob Chychrun gets to go from playing in a 5,000 seat building to going to a 20,000 seat building with 5,000 fans in it, which is mean.
Yes, it's mean.
They show up. Well, first of all, it's really difficult to get to, but they show up when they're winning, and they're winning.
The arena is located in the worst possible location. Maybe they'd get more than 5,000 people.
It's in a cornfield.
If they could move the arena slightly closer to where humans are.
Yeah. No, you could film like The Last of Us in the field
in
across
Canada?
the street.
Yeah.
Oh, it's brutal.
Ugh.
Yeah, and I like Ottawa. I like Ottawa, the city, a lot.
Yeah.
And you're like, where's the arena? And they're like, oh, it's nowhere near here.
No, when we were there a couple years ago for a live show, we stayed in like a great area of Ottawa, and the arena's not, it was like 20, 25 minutes away from there. We were like downtown, where like they had the Carlton and stuff, right? And we went to a couple bars and our live show, and we went to Parliament. And
it's a weirdly designed city. Edmonton's somewhat similar situation. There isn't like a central area.
Yes, like the mall area is far from where the arena, where Rogers Place is, if I remember correctly.
So they have several good areas all spread out. Like, I'm not dumping on Edmonton. No. Like, that place is fine. But like, Ottawa is this really nice city with like a pretty quickly growing population and an arena in fucking Narnia. Complete Narnia. As soon as they fix that problem, they'll be fine.
Yeah, and that's the first thing that the new owners will do. Guaranteed 100%. Yeah. Like, that's the first thing you get in there. You buy this team, you get a new arena. That's it'll be a fix in the next 5 years, you know?
And now Coyotes fans yelling like, but that's our problem. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. They'll make the commute if the team's good. There's no commute to make. You play in an abandoned Radio Shack.
They're not trying to be a hockey team.
They're not.
They're just trying to, I don't know, just hold as little money as possible. It's a very odd situation in Phoenix.
Like, I get it. The owner's cheap. I get it. But, you know, and they're not breaking any rules. But, like, they maybe ought to be. Mm-hmm. Like, this is why I got so cheesed about that. There was that quote that came out, the NHL is going to closely scrutinize teams that acquire injured players in order to hold on to them for the beginning of the playoffs. And the example that was cited was the Leafs getting Riley Nash, because of course it was. Of absolute course it was. When is it ever not about the Leafs? Like, I beg, like, sorry for... Why do Leafs fans think they're the main character? I don't know, because you make us the main character for every fucking thing. Every goddamn thing. Seriously. But like, it comes back to trying to win. So you get teams acquiring injured players to hold them for the beginning of the playoffs because they're trying to win. What are the Coyotes doing? They're hoarding all these draft picks and trying to finish last in hopes of ideally getting the first overall pick or one of the top 3 picks so that they can what?
Win! Eventually.
It's all competition. So either both of them are fine or neither of them are. None of this either or bullshit. That doesn't make any sense.
And another thing that the NHL is looking to discuss at the Board of Governors meeting that's coming up, or the GM meetings.
I don't know.
GM meetings are coming up. I think Board of Governors, they're going to talk, the executive board is going to talk about what's going to happen at the GM meetings. So a couple teams were upset at how the three-way deals happened. Because apparently there's one instance where the initial trade happened and then you got to make the subsequent two, right? Because it's a three-way deal, so everybody's kind of got to agree on the parameters of it. And they had the initial deal done, put in the trade, and then the second trade happens. And then so the second GM or the third GM gets on the trade call and he says, no, that wasn't what I agreed to about the initial trade call that had already gone through. And eventually he had to be like, okay, fine, that's whatever. But apparently they weren't happy with that, with how the third GM was like trying to argue about how the initial trade happened. And he wanted some edits to that trade. So they might rework how three-way deals are done in the NHL.
There's no way that wasn't the Meyer trade.
They didn't say, weren't talking about which trade it was?
Or no, the Meyer trade wasn't three-way.
No.
Because remember, it was, Meyer's been traded to the Devils, and it took us like 5 hours to figure out the return.
The Patrick Kane trade was the same way. Remember? That was like a 48-hour window.
So maybe it was Kane.
We don't know. It was one of the three-way deals. One of the GMs was unhappy because when he got on the trade call, or the assistant GM or whoever did the trade call was unhappy because the initial trade, that was the part of the three-way, they weren't very clear on that trade and what was constituted, what went back and forth in that deal. And they weren't too happy about it. So somebody complained to Central Registry and now it's a big hoopla.
What did the Kane deal involve? The Coyotes. I'm just going to throw it out there. Nope, because the three-way deal between the Bruins, Wild, and Caps happened. And we didn't hear a thing about it.
Leafs,
Wild, and Blues, it just happened. We didn't hear a thing about it. Like, there was no lead up. Kane, there was weeks of lead up. And it was, he's a Ranger now. Yeah. We don't know how he's a Ranger. And it's probably going to... Is there any doubt that's the deal that they're complaining about? Is there any doubt?
Ekholm three-way? There's salary retention.
No, because the Preds only retain 4%.
Right.
Which I saw people get upset about that, by the way. I know we're going all over the place. But
no, this is our NHL trade deadline recap.
There you go.
Day, you know?
So you only get 3 retention slots, right? So the Predators have used up one of those slots for the rest of this year and for the next 3 years, which is not smart because you're hurting the amount of value you can get back, which I saw people say, and it's a fair point, but it's the Nashville Predators. And all it says to me is they don't plan on spending money on players who aren't going to play for them.
Exactly.
Which, I mean, we talk about the Coyotes like they're the only team in the league that's a little cash strapped. There's cap strapped and cash strapped. And the Preds are frugal. Let's say frugal. No, is that the word?
Yeah, no, that's good.
Cheap, yeah. But is frugal you're willing to spend money or you're unwilling?
You're unwilling.
Okay, so they're frugal then.
Yeah. Cheap.
I have an English minor.
So do I because of RTA.
Ryerson.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
No, not anymore. TMU.
Toronto TMU.
Toronto Metro. All right. So that's kind of, you said we were all over the place, but it was kind of a trade deadline recap.
A little bit.
What happened Friday and Saturday. We ended Saturday. You don't get to watch the Leafs game because?
No, because it's Watch Hockey Night in Canada with Steve Dangle on the Sportsnet YouTube channel. And the Leafs game against the Canucks was not the Hockey Night in Canada game. It was Oilers versus Jets, which actually turned out to be the far better game.
7 goals in the second period.
Yeah, 7-5.
Unreal.
Oh boy, just Jack Campbell, just not great.
But you want to spend a minute on that before we get to where I was getting us to the Leafs game?
Sure.
Jack Campbell, go off.
Well, okay, so Ekholm and it's not like Ekholm had a bad game. I actually thought he was good in a game where his team allowed 7 goals. But wow, do they need work defensively, man? Because the first 3 goals, and this, I don't know. I just feel like this isn't the greatest endorsement of Jack Campbell, but like the first 3 goals against just weren't his fault. They were all deflections, either off of his team or the other. And then after that, he just wouldn't give a damn. He couldn't make a save. He couldn't make a save. And, you know, we saw it when he was with the Leafs, the typical awful body language. Like, listen, it's great that he's a gem of a human being. It's great. You can't friggin' punch yourself in the head every time you allow a goal.
Yeah.
You gotta have a little bit of battle or a little bit of fuck it. You know, they say to have a short memory, and like, it's hard, right? Like, it's not like, you know, a bad thing happens to me or whatever, and I just completely brush it off like it never did. But I mean, every professional athlete needs to have that mindset a little bit. And like, who needs to have that mindset more than pitchers in baseball?
Yes.
And goalies in hockey.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, they're 2 very intertwined positions, I think. Like, the pitcher in baseball and the goalie in hockey take on a wild burden compared to the other players. They're there the whole time. I mean, pitchers are there the whole time until they're not, right? But like, I don't see any batter out there for 6 innings. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Out there. And if you have a bad day, what are the odds your team wins? You know, if the goalie has a bad day, you're probably going to lose. If your pitcher has a bad day, you're probably going to lose. If your number 1 center has a bad day, maybe the number 2 center had a really good day and you're fine.
Yeah, your left winger has a bad day. It might just be every game.
Yeah.
You know, he can go unnoticed.
So, like, the Leafs had a lot of flaws when they were, like, in 2017, you know, sort of, you know, Matthews, Marner coming into their own. Frederik Andersen shepherded them into the playoff picture, and yeah, they contributed 40 goals and this and that. That goalie got shelled every evening. So I'm sure they look different with Stuart Skinner. Sorry, I just picked up Jeff Skinner in fantasy. I'm sure they look different with Stuart Skinner in net. But no goalie was going to stop those first 3 goals.
And then there were 4 more.
That's a problem. Well, then there's both problems, right?
Yeah.
Like, they lost a game 7-5 where they got a hat trick from Leon Draisaitl.
Their offense has always been so good, and team defense has just been such a struggle. And with Jack Campbell, he became sort of a media darling here, in that, like, we learned so much about Campbell in this short time here. Like, every time there was a game, he would be interviewed, he'd be on the post game, and his clips would go on Twitter and whatever, and we all talk about them. And he always struggled with that confidence thing. Like, anytime he lose, it'd be his fault, and he'd blame himself to the nth degree. And it seems like he still hasn't changed that mindset. And I don't know, it's gonna take a change if he wants to get out of this, because like you said, like, if you allow 1 home run, you know, that could be your only run of the game. But if you get down on yourself, you can allow a whole bunch more runs, and then your game's over. You know, it's the same thing with the goaltending. That streak, that winning streak he had in Toronto, like, I kind of look back on it now and wonder how good it was for him. And like, it wasn't a winning streak. Like, all streaks end, right? But that streak kind of crumbled, because if you remember the streak where he either tied the record or broke it, there was a game, I want to say the Leafs were up 5-1 or 5-2 on whoever they were playing. I can't remember who it was. I do remember this game. And they came within inches of blowing it. Mm-hmm. They won it by 1 goal, and it was like sort of a, like, and it was almost this like cross he had to bear. And then when it was finally over, it's, you know, well, it's over. I lost. The streak is broken or whatever. The you know, first goal goes in Game 5 against Montreal. Oof. Like, I wonder how much does that contribute to the second goal going in? Yeah. And then the third one. And like, oh, fuck, he was good in Game 6.
He was really good in Game 6. He was the only reason they were in Game 6. But then that first goal goes in Game 7. I'm like, they don't have a shot.
No, well, that entire team, that Game 7, like the second the puck drop was awful.
Horrible.
But like going forward where Jack Campbell is right now, Stuart Skinner needs, I think, a little bit of runway here as the starting goaltender. We saw it in the midway part of the year. We saw it in like the beginning of winter. Yes. Stuart Skinner got a little bit of run. And I think just it's time to go back to it. There's enough Jack Campbell evidence here that it's not really working. Skinner's your guy.
It's too late in the year. It's March. It's too late.
19 games left or something?
Yeah. I mean, what's your drop dead date? Because you need one. You have to have one.
I'd be shocked if Jack Campbell's in net Game 1 for the Edmonton Oilers.
Oh, it's a non-option.
There's no way.
No, they can't do it.
No.
What I'm talking about is how much more of the regular season are you willing to use on seeing if Campbell's got it?
Playing the tandem, like back and forth, seeing if which one's going to take the role.
Yeah.
I think it's about time to just commit.
Yeah. It is kind of interesting, though, because like you're seeing a lot of teams that bought at the deadline completely shitting themselves. Tampa has been
we're gonna talk about Tampa.
Yeah, okay.
To the Leafs.
Okay, we don't need to fully get into it. They haven't been very good. The Leafs haven't been very good outside of they had 3 games. One was exemplary, and the other 2 were unacceptable.
Mm-hmm. Bring it up. Say it.
It was 4-1.
No, the next team.
Edmonton?
The New York Rangers.
Oh, how have they done?
Not great.
Oh, really?
It's
hard to pay attention to every bloody fucking...
For a little bit there, they were winless with Patrick Kane, and then they managed to eke out a win versus Philly, which was good. Actually, no, the Philly win in OT was on Wednesday night, so they wouldn't have had Patrick Kane.
No, I don't think so.
So, yeah, since they've acquired Kane, they played Ottawa and Boston 0-2. 0-2 with Patrick Kane, and 1-2 and since the trade happened, so it's the Wednesday. Not good. Yeah. Not good.
So and lots of high scores. Tampa's had a lot of high scores. Leafs have had a little bit of both. Edmonton has had some ridiculous high scores. You're kind of seeing a little bit of October hockey here. And
October hockey.
No, but the reason October hockey rules is because defense doesn't exist yet. And the reason defense doesn't exist yet is systems don't exist yet. So all of these buying teams have kind of had their system shattered a little bit.
With so many new guys.
Yeah, so maybe they get it together, but the Oilers are a team that have to get it together. Like their defense just was not good enough. But you see the potential for greatness there because Connor Hellebuck played a straight up very good game for the Winnipeg Jets. He allowed 5 goals.
Yep. Because the offense of Edmonton's too good.
Yeah, I saw the deserve to win-o-meter after that game had Edmonton winning that game over 70% of the time. That deserve to win-o-meter did not watch that game.
It never does.
No.
It doesn't watch games.
No, look at this. The Oilers got shelled at the end of the game the Jets got shelled at the end of the game when they were winning. Well, yeah, Of course they did. No, the Jets hemmed the Oilers in for minutes at a time throughout that game, outshot them greatly for the majority of that game. There were times where I was like, fuck, Campbell's hasn't been good enough, and he's also the reason they're in it. Him and the guy who scored a hat trick and everything.
Yeah, Leon.
Yeah, it wasn't their best work.
No. All right, let's it's half an hour into the show. We haven't talked about the Leafs.
Wow.
So and that's going to continue because we're going to take a break. We're going to do a little sports interaction.
Woo.
We're going to talk about some bets, and then we're going to come back. Leafs Canucks.
No.
You can bet that with David Bastel. Brought to you by Sports Interaction. Get in the action and make a play. 19 plus. Please play responsibly.
David Bastel's here, everybody. SportsInteraction.com/SDPN. Now, David, today you have for us the Eastern Conference odds for who's going to represent the East in the Stanley Cup Final.
This is correct. Yeah, you know what? We've rejigged the odds just because, trade deadline's come and gone. So this is basically the roster unless there's injuries, sorry, or anything else that happens to some of these teams in playoff positions. Hopefully it's not that serious, by the way.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, exactly. We never wish that. But right now, and it's no surprise, guys, the Boston Bruins are the favorites too. I know. I'm making news on the Dangle podcast today. But you know what?
The Bruins are good.
It doesn't mean they're going to be there for sure at the end. And of course, there's always the dark horse picks too. So give me some numbers, guys. Give me some teams, and I'll give you some numbers that correspond.
I mean, I want to hear what the other two Atlantic teams have. What do the Leafs and the Lightning have compared to the Bruins?
Okay, so the Bruins are a 3-2-8.
Okay.
The Leafs are a 6-2-6, and the Lightning are a 9-6-4.
Ooh.
Wow.
The three teams are in the top 5 of the Eastern odds. The other two, Carolina comes in at number 2. The Devils come in at number 4. So it's in that realm.
Bruins, Hurricanes, Leafs, Devils. Top 4 teams most likely to make it to the Stanley Cup Final. My Rangers are number 5. So you got to count that as a dark horse.
Yeah.
What do you have? What do
8
you have?
to 1? 9 to 1-ish? Yeah.
Almost 9 to 1-ish, yeah.
What do you have for the non-guarantees? Like the teams that I want to know what you have for Ottawa, who's not even in a playoff spot right now, but they're hot as a pistol.
Well, you know what? That's not bad. Pretty good value pick right now. Ottawa is a 58.
Oh,
so
my gosh.
58 times your money.
Come on. I don't know. That's worth a toonie.
Yeah. Even a team like the Penguins, that could always catch fire and do some damage.
Yep.
Maybe.
It's not bad.
Yep.
Who are you going with?
Probably not 58.
Who are you going with?
The Leafs, because I'm sad and I hate myself.
See, I looked at the team like the Islanders just because they have one of the best goalies in the world. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying this Islander team up front is going to sit there and knock off the Bruins or the Hurricanes, depending on where they kind of sit in that wild card 1 spot, I'm guessing. But man, Sorokin might be the best goaltender considering what he has in front of him compared to what Allmark has in front of him, kind of thing, right?
Right.
Just saying.
Yeah, you think about what they're doing with that roster that
35
can't
to
score
1.
goals.
35 to 1 the Islanders.
35. That's a team that, what is it? 2 years ago, Eastern Conference Finals?
Yeah.
And the year before that?
That's... I look at Ottawa and I look at the Islanders because the other Eastern teams are so bunched up and close together. Mm-hmm. You might as well take a shot with those guys.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think the correct pick after all of this conversation is
Toronto Maple Leafs.
Just go with the Bruins. I don't know who's beating them.
Triple up your money, right?
Right?
Triple up your money.
Still 3 to 1 if you get it this early. Not bad on the best team in National Hockey League.
The problem is because I bet responsibly, I won't have enough money left to bet on the Bruins because I've bet it all on the Jets.
Welcome to supper tonight.
Yeah.
Come here for 5:30.
Thank you, David. That's sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. Get all of your betting needs there.
See you guys soon.
We have breaking news. Manscaped now sells beard products. Woo! That's right.
For your face.
Manscaped is once again revolutionizing men's grooming with the brand new Beard Hedger Pro Kit.
Are you an oil guy? Your beard
oil. Yeah. Manscaped actually comes in the kit.
Well, there you go.
The new kit has Manscaped's beard oil, an essential piece for your main facial accessory. No one wants a guy whose beard is brittle and dry.
For facial
makes it like soft and stuff. So it's good.
For smooches.
Now you can finally use the Manscaped products to make your drapes match your carpet. Right.
Did Adam write
this? Your drapes can match your carpet by going to manscaped.com and using the code
Dangle
for 20% off and free shipping. 20% off and free shipping, manscaped.com.
Is it my turn?
Yeah.
Dangle!
Manscaped Beard Hedger. 1 stroke, 1 guard, 20 lengths. Let's go.
Cutie.
Steve, it's hard to stick to working out.
Yeah.
Would you found that like having your Peloton makes it easier to stick to working out?
It makes it hard to stop. Is what it does.
Because you just keep going?
I'm on it. Like, and even when I'm not on it, I feel like I am.
What are your favorite classes that the instructors have?
I do like the instructor classes because they keep you honest. But sometimes what I actually prefer to do is I like to ride like through the countryside. So you don't have to have an instructor class. You can just listen to music and like go through the Scottish Highlands,
which is nice.
You can like go in the tropics. You can go in the desert. You can go wherever you want with Peloton.
And you have a Peloton bike. We all know Peloton has bikes, but they're much more than that. They also make treadmills and have a ton of other classes like yoga, strength training, HIIT, and boxing.
High intensity interval training. That's what HIIT means.
So you can try Peloton risk-free with a 30-day home trial. New members only, not available in remote locations. See additional terms at onepeloton.ca/home-trial. That is onepeloton.ca/home-trial.
I'm exhausted.
We made you wait over 30 minutes for the highlight of the show, and that is Kerfoot Matthews Marner. Let's go! Nobody's happy about it.
So the line
From the
rushes
fourth line to the first line, Alexander Kerfoot.
From the first line to the fourth line is Michael Bunting. Here are the Leafs line rushes today at practice, and this just got out, so my reaction is authentic. So Tavares is listed as an extra, and O'Reilly is absent. I don't read into that at all.
No.
Tavares got his shit rocked. O'Reilly probably got his finger broken. I guess we'll learn more about that later. Your lines are Kerfoot, Matthews, Marner. Go directly to jail. Yarncroke, Lafferty, Nylander. That's fine. Lafferty's a placeholder. That's fine. Aston Reese, Kampf, Achari, Bunting, Holmberg, Steves. Michael Bunting is playing beneath Zach Aston Reese. I get making a point. And like, listen, he hasn't been good enough.
Yeah.
His game really got away from him. Then it was trending in the right direction, and it's gotten away from him again. Kerfoot. I'd sooner give it to Yarncroke. I'd sooner give it to Aston Reese, because with Yarncroke and Aston Reese, we at least haven't seen it fail.
We've tried this many times before.
We've tried this.
Kerfoot was never the answer at first line left wing.
Like, so
let's go back. Let's go back in time to Saturday. Let's start there.
Yeah.
You're not watching the game, but you caught up afterward.
Hell of a game to miss.
Let's start with Pop.
Oh, I was like, I believe he goes by Poppy.
Nope. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about Kyle with a C, who tweeted you about his pop. So I wasn't that mad about the Leafs loss to Vancouver. And we'll talk about Vancouver as a market in a minute. But I wasn't that mad about the loss, because you can't be that mad about a poor performance you predict. And I did predict this. And it wasn't pessimism. It wasn't, the Leafs, the bums and they crumble. No, we talked about these 3 games as games that were going to be really hard. They're in the middle of a 5-game road trip, emotional week with the trade deadline, and the Leafs had a more emotional trade deadline than the majority of teams. They did. They lost more guys. They gained more guys. There were more moves. It was spread out. There was a lot of uncertainty. The game right after they made a deal, a bunch of deals, Jake McCabe and Sam Lafferty's first game as Leafs were against Connor McDavid and the Oilers. That's a bad time. That's
setting your guys up to fail. But if that's when the deal happens, that's when the deal happens. You can't help that. You write it, you chalk it up as a schedule loss. The next night, second half of a back-to-back, they play stellar against the Calgary Flames, and you go, well, you know what? That's as good a win as they've had this season. But then there's still the third game in 4 nights in 3 different cities in Vancouver. That one might not go so well. They don't even try on the 2 shorthanded goals against.
Yes.
Two shorthanded goals against on the same power play. The first time the Canucks have done that since 1992. Mm-hmm. Pavel Bure and Tom Fergus.
And a little bit of pushback on the Leafs' performance in the game because they had a really good first period. I believe shots were 10-1 at one point. Okay. And it seemed like they lost their legs midway through the second is where everything kind of crumbled. And then eventually in the third, it was 1-1 in the third period.
Oh, I know.
When those 2 shorties happened. Tavares ties it.
When did Tavares get killed?
Second period? Late in the second? So
he tied the game after getting hit.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
That's pretty gutsy.
Yeah.
That's good.
Bad. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So, yeah, they at some point, they kind of lost it. And at some point, it's probably late in the second, and then definitely when they were having that power play, and everybody just looked completely gassed. And, yeah.
So they lost Matthews for points because of a shot block. They lost O'Reilly for points because of a block shot. There's no way Tavares was playing at 100%. Right now, it looks like he may not even play tomorrow, right? So I wasn't even that mad. And then Kyle with a C posted, can I call them Sile? Kyle with a C posted a picture of Pop. Could be Pap. I'm going to go with Pop. P-A-P. Sile brought Pop from Newfoundland. Kyle brought Pop from Newfoundland to Vancouver at 84 years old for his first ever NHL game to watch his Toronto Maple Leafs play. He had the shirt with the Leaf logo that said first NHL game, 84 years old, March, whatever it was, 4th, 2023. Sorry, my birthday is March 12th, 1988. I've only had to say that date in my life 1,000 times out loud. And they do that! So then I was mad for Pop. I haven't heard anything from the Leafs organization yet. Do you have the photo on the screen?
Pop's on the screen right now, yeah.
I haven't seen anything, and I didn't directly ask for it in the video, but the Leafs organization is usually very good with this sort of thing. They know what they have to do. They know what they have to do. They need to do right. They need to make right by Pop. He's got to go to another game at some point. I don't know if that's game 1 of the playoffs or game 3. I don't know if that's another game this regular season. I don't know if it's a game next season. You got to do right by Pop. He's never been to a game in your building. That can't sit. That won't stand. That won't do any of those things. The Leafs have to show Pop what they're capable of, because that cannot be his lasting NHL and lasting Toronto Maple Leafs experience. It's unacceptable.
Right. Because you weren't mad about the loss, but then this reminded you that, hey, those kinds of efforts aren't acceptable any night. You know, where your lives completely die and you stop trying in a hockey game. You know, you want fans who go to games, fans like Pop, to see the team give their maximal amount of effort.
Yes. And that's every night.
Yeah.
Every night. It has to be
night in, night out.
Every night there might be an experience like that. Right? And listen, you're not going to win every night. Yeah, you're not going to play your best game every night.
You're not asking them to win every person's first game. You know, they can't win all 82. You're just asking for effort.
Leafs lost the first game I ever went to. I don't hold it against them. I don't know. They've won some games that I went to as well. Mm-hmm. But it was a close one. They were down 3-1. They tied it, and the game-winning goal. Ironically, here's what Pop and I have in common. The first Leafs game that we ever saw in person, the game winner against the Leafs was shorthanded.
Oh,
Oh, no way. Sergei Fedorov scored a shorthanded goal to win the game for me. Isn't that weird? That my experience was Sergei Fedorov scoring the game winner, and for him it was like JT Miller.
Yeah, for him it should have been like
or whoever.
like
I don't
Bobby
remember.
Orr. You know?
Yeah. Stan Mikita with the game winner. Nope. JT Miller or whoever.
Oh, Pop.
No, they have to do right by Pop.
Yeah,
that's trash. Fly him in. Give him the whole experience. I'm not asking you to do this for every fan who goes to their first game and has a shitty experience. I'm asking you to do it for Pop.
Specifically for Pop. Matt Murray.
Fine.
Thought he was okay.
Yeah.
And that one save on the breakaway, the 2-on-1, where he had that kick save.
There you go.
Kick save and a beauty. And then the two short-handed goals, it's a 2-on-1. Can't really blame him. The other one, it's a breakaway for JT. Can't really blame him. You know, it's hard to pin any goal on Matt Murray, but he looked good in his return.
Give your goalies a shot, man. Like, I get most mad at, like, Samsonov especially, when he just gets beat point blank. But in a crowd, like, when the other team is set up, the Leafs do a great job in front of both those guys. They did a great job in front of Wall, great job in front of Shelgren, great job in front of Murray, great job in front of Samsonov. When they play together, when the Leafs defensive system and their goaltender, whoever they have in that night, play together, they have a really good chance of winning. They didn't play together in this game.
Are you worried at all after what you saw?
No.
And seeing the line rushes for today, Kerfoot up on the first line.
I would like it. Seeing Kerfoot in that line rush does make me want to retract something. So the debate that we're having in Leafs Nation is a hypothetical scenario. Let's say the Leafs lose in the first round again. And just like last year, it's a 7-game series. And just like last year, it's really tight. And just like last year, you lose by 1 goal. Does Kyle Dubas deserve to be extended? Decisions like this make me lean towards no. Decisions like this make me lean towards you're too pig-headed to get out of your own way. Kerfoot. You left your team in a position where Alexander Kerfoot was the choice up front. Find another job. I'm sorry. Like, yeah, but I gave you this, I gave you that, I gave you that. You gave me a team with Alexander Kerfoot on your first line. Get out of here. Get out of here. That's not good enough. You know, well, we acquired this guy, we acquired this guy, we acquired this guy. You gave me a team where Justin Hall is Morgan Riley's defense partner. Get out of here. Find another job. You got to do better than that. Everyone can see it. And there are numbers that look favorably on Hall. There's a lot of numbers that don't. Like, he's not this guy who's like unanimous amongst the analytics community. The analytics community is not a hive mind. Like I've seen Cam Sharon, who did work with the Leafs for 8 years, talk about how good Justin Hall is, and he's got the numbers to back it up. And then there's Rachel Dory, who's like all over our Discord these days, talking about how Justin Hall just ain't it.
Yeah.
Ain't it? And like, it's funny because actually since the deadline, he's churned out some pretty good performances. But on paper, Kerfoot on your top line and Hall with Riley, they're both unacceptable.
Yeah, even Morgan Riley lately. I know the conversation's
Horrible.
not really about him, but like
Horrible.
the fourth goal and him just trying to forecheck and losing a simple battle along the boards, which leads directly to a goal.
He hasn't
it was
been
ugly.
good enough. He hasn't been good enough.
No, it's been very ugly play from Morgan Riley. And the Dubas conversation's interesting because I don't think they should leave it up to whether the playoff results. I think there's enough of his resume here that he deserves an extension.
Yes.
At least a couple, like a 1+1 or something simple where he can come back. And I think it's a little unfortunate if it was left up to, hey, you win a first round, you get a contract. I think that's a little tough on him. But the team's one player short if Kerfoot goes into the playoffs as your number one left winger.
Matthew Nyes. So you're going to have the rookie play where?
Hopefully not on that first line.
Are we assuming that Bunting gets his job back?
Yes, that's how I'm looking at this as, hey, this is a temporary step back for Michael Bunting. That is still your number one left winger. That second line, we'll figure that out when we get there. Like, it's fine. O'Reilly can play up there for a little bit. They did the 1-2-3 down the middle this game.
Sure.
And Kerfoot was up there. But, like, I think Bunting just earns it back, and this is a temporary, hey, get your mind right, get your ish together. You're on the fourth line for a little bit, and then he's going back. That's why I'm not too worried about Kyle Dubas screwing up this team by not having a left winger for the top line.
So you think this decision, and this is what I think this decision is and what I hope this decision is, but I'm letting my anxiety speak. So here are my securities speaking. Kerfoot on the first line has more to do with Bunting than it does with Kerfoot.
Yes, this is a punishment to a guy who that's his spot.
Okay. I can live with that, but I tell you what, so you're hoping Bunting finds it then. What if he doesn't?
He's not a fourth liner.
But what if he doesn't? What if he doesn't find it?
And then that's a bigger problem.
Right.
Also,
since the beginning of the gosh darn season, we've been talking about that left side. Mm-hmm. And here we are. So now it's a borderline child that is tasked with saving the Leafs at left wing. He better be Luke Robitaille. He better be amazing. Or they're fucked.
I don't think either that the way Bunting is playing now couldn't suffice for the playoffs. Like, I don't think Bunting, I wouldn't have demoted. If I'm Keith, I wouldn't do that. I don't think the way Bunting has been playing lately is like so egregious that he needed to be moved out to the fourth line. Well, I was pretty shocked by the decision.
You know what, though? His first season as a Leaf, he was given a role in the top six. I don't remember where. I don't remember who he played with exactly. But he was given a role in the top six. He got demoted to the fourth line. He scored. And if you go back and look at the celly, it was just pure relief that he scored. He played a small handful of games down there in the fourth line, did very well, got promoted, and never let the job go until now. Like a year later, right? Mm-hmm. So in Keith's defense, he's done this once and it worked. It better work this time because the option is what they have now, which we know isn't good enough.
No. We've seen the Kerfoot experiment. Like, it doesn't. Kerfoot has played in every single spot in this lineup, and nothing's really worked unless you count like Kerfoot on the fourth line, which was really good. A week and a half ago? He was on the fourth line, and it was good.
And they love him.
He's making too much money to play on the fourth line.
They love him. Yeah. Like they love him. He's a good interview. He's a fun guy. He's a jovial guy. Elliot Friedman talked about how the Leafs brought in a third team in the O'Reilly deal so that they could keep Kerfoot.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you can get by and do so much in life if you are just liked. But like, what if he didn't tell good jokes? Like, would you still put this guy on your top line if he wasn't funny?
Michael Bunting, do you know if he's a good locker room guy?
I think he is too. I think him and Kerfoot. I get the impression from everything I've ever heard from anybody that it's a really tight-knit group and they like each other, and there are no real outliers. Or there are guys who just aren't as social.
Yeah. Everyone's always like, Broads is different. That kind of stuff. But it's not like they don't like him.
Every time they talk about Broads is different, I go, please don't explain how.
Right.
I like him too much for you to explain how.
Yeah. Let's keep his different to him.
Oh, he likes conspiracy theories, and I'm very grateful that all the reporters haven't gone, so like which ones?
Which Reddit you a part of?
Please don't. He's too good at defending 2-on-1s for me to know the answer to that question. Stop. Just please don't. Yeah. Please don't.
There's a reason he was in a total of like 0 scenes in All or Nothing, the Amazon series.
Yeah, because I don't know. He's too good at defending 2-on-1s. He's too good at stick checking for me to know the answer to that question.
Yeah.
No, but I get the impression it's a really tight-knit group.
That's all we've ever heard is that everyone in that locker room likes each other.
Part of me wonders, would they be better if they disliked each other a little bit? Do we think the Lightning get along all the time? Nathan McKinnon and Jared Bednar screaming at each other, McKinnon falling off the bench. You don't need to all like each other to succeed. we've all worked on group projects and stuff at work with people that aren't our favorite. And, but you have to succeed because you all get the same mark. It affects you. You might not be rooting for the other guy, but like I'm sure. What are you pulling up on the screen? What's this now?
It's Steve.
Oh, sorry.
Keep going. I'm doing my thing.
Sorry.
I'm preparing about where we're going.
Like, for example, Jesse and I make a good show. We hate each other.
Since you already distracted,
viscerally.
We can get to it because it's about what we're talking about. We can talk about the Lightning now.
I think they're both. To answer your question, I think they're both guys who keep it loose in different ways.
Right. So the Leafs, not struggling, but we know where they are. We'll see what happens with New Jersey. Is that Wednesday or Tuesday?
Tomorrow. Tuesday. Yeah.
Tomorrow night in New Jersey. We'll see what happens. Hopefully they rebound. Yeah. But what happened with the Lightning over the weekend directly affects them because that's going to be their first round matchup. And Saturday, the Lightning play the Buffalo Sabres. They lose. Not great. Nope. In that loss, John Cooper benches Stamkos, benches Point, benches Kucherov.
Points.
This is what John Cooper says about that benching.
Well, as coaches, you got to put your team in the best position to win. And, 99.9% of the time, those guys give us the best chance to win when they're on the ice. We just felt in the third period they weren't giving us the best chance to win. And, this team's been unbelievable for a decade, and you take the 3 finals. Well, there's a reason a lot of that's happened. We have a set of standards here that everybody adheres to, and it's not pick and choose. It's everybody, and so it's how it was for today. And like I said, those guys are an extremely important part of our team. But for 20 minutes tonight, it was. Thought the other guys could get it done, and you know what? They almost did.
You talk so much about the faith that you have in the room.
So that's such a key point, is they did almost come back in that game. And as a result, Cooper was getting praise for that. You know what? I thought the other guys could get it done, and they almost did. And people are going, look at John Cooper. Experienced coach, been around the block. He knows what he's doing. Great job. And they follow it up with probably their worst game of the entire season.
It was brutal. A 6-0 loss to Carolina on Sunday afternoon. And if you watched any part of that game, none of it was close.
They had 4 shots after 40.
Yeah. It was like they didn't show up for the game at all. And I wonder, is it a message to the head coach? Being like, you don't think we're good enough? Look at us play? I think they're too much of a competitors to do that, but it's always in the back of my mind. It's like, hey, are they not showing up because they're upset at John Cooper?
Oh boy. You got to show up with a certain fire in your belly. Like, isn't it funny that Eric Lindros talked about this a week ago? He talked about this less than a week ago, sitting in that chair right over there. The coach always looks like a genius.
It's a win-win. Either the players show up or they don't, and you were right for benching them.
He wasn't right about that, though. He wasn't right about that because it's either the players show up and you're the reason they showed up, or they stink. And it's like, well, of course he benched them. They stink. He benched 3 players we know don't stink.
Yep.
And they stunk, and now they still stink. So now whose fault is that? Then, right? Listen, none of us expect Kucherov, Stamkos, and Point to be bad for long. They'll probably come back next game, win 8-1.
We'll see. They play Philly on Tuesday, tomorrow night.
I mean, is that what the doctor ordered or what?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But they've lost, is it 5 in a row?
Let me double check. I don't think it's in a row.
A couple in overtime. They haven't been doing well. They've allowed a lot of goals for a team with like Victor Hedman and Andrei Vasilevsky, and now Hedman's hurt.
Only 2 in a row. They are 2-5-3 in their last 10, though.
Okay, good enough. Good enough, you know what I mean. Now, weirdly, because the Lightning are just wired differently than every other team, if Hedman is out, it might actually help them. Just because when guys get hurt, the Lightning tend to It's almost like a fuck you to nature. Like they're just like, all right, you think you can hold us down? No, we're going to win with 2 guys you've never heard of.
Yeah. They look at it as a challenge.
They look at it as a challenge, and they've rose to the occasion each and every year, right? Each and every time that happens. But, you talk about teams peaking at the wrong time. They're shitting the bed at the wrong time.
No wins in their last 7. So they have 1.
So what do you call that?
2.
It's a losing streak.
They have 2 OT losses, so they have 2 points in their last 7. That's brutal. Last win came February 21st versus Anaheim. It was a 6-1 win.
That's got to be their worst stretch of hockey.
Oh, no, they beat Detroit on the 25th. My bad.
Okay.
So there you go.
But that's got to be their worst stretch of hockey in 4 years?
Oh, yeah. It's not great.
It's pretty bad.
Because John Cooper has a reason to do this, right? They're not playing well, those three stars. He's trying to get them going. Does this hurt? I assume it doesn't hurt their confidence because they are star players. They'll bounce back. Does this bode well for the Leafs to see their opponents reeling at this late in the season?
I think it helps show that the beast bleeds, sort of thing. You know what I mean? It's a reminder, because we just spent the last segment killing the Leafs, right? But it's a reminder they're not the only team that goes through this. They're not the only team that struggles, and the Lightning are struggling right now. And it's more than they're just losing games and they're not finding ways to win. Like, they're getting crushed.
Yeah.
The Carolina Hurricanes crushed them. Like, that's a statement, right? And, second half of a back-to-back. Was it in Carolina? Must have been.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's a statement game, a little bit of a fuck you, a little bit of the Hurricanes taking advantage of a tired team. The Lightning are wired so weird, though, because maybe they're like, fuck it. We'll give you this game. We'll go for a little public skate. We're not there to please your fans. And we'll you know what? It's March 5th. You take your 2 points, go be fat and happy somewhere else. And we'll be back in the spring to fuck up your good time.
Because they know how to turn it on any moment. When they want to, they can be amazing. And I wonder if, they come with that mentality on a Sunday afternoon where it's like, we don't need to wake up for this.
The hockey news people of power and influence for the 3rd or 4th straight year have omitted the most influential person in hockey over the last half decade. Keenan Thompson.
Why? Why is Keenan Thompson supposed to be on that list?
Because the Tampa Bay Lightning got embarrassed by the Columbus Blue Jackets.
Yeah.
They had a couple months to let that fester and get over it.
You mean when they got swept?
Yep.
As the President's Trophy winners?
Yep.
I believe. Yeah.
And then at the NHL Awards, Keenan Thompson embarrassed them in front of all of their peers. And they were
Why do
not.
you remember this?
They were not in on the joke. Remember that?
Mm-mm.
You don't remember that?
No.
He made fun of them.
Okay.
And they weren't into it. They were not playing along. They were not playing ball. And from that moment on, they said, all right, fuck you to the entire league. Won back-to-back cups, triple Stanley Cup final in a row, and they might just do 4. The Tanner Jeannot trade is illogical.
Mm-hmm.
Any other team makes that trade, we make fun of them. But it's the Lightning, and we're all afraid to because it might just work.
It's interesting to see some cracks in a team that has been so good over the last 3 years. So I don't know if anything comes of it. I don't know if we get to the Leafs Lightning first round, game 1, and we're still like, oh, what's going on with Tampa? I think they probably turn it around in the next 4 weeks as we lead up to the playoffs. But it's something to watch.
Yeah.
It's very interesting to see John Cooper speaking out, John Cooper making headlines during the regular season in moments like this. I don't know. It's something to watch.
It's far more noteworthy that they've been bad for the better part of a month than they had a bad couple days.
Steven, before we get to trivia, there's one piece of audio I just need to play for you, because this fan base is absolutely livid at what happened on Friday. And what happened on Friday for them was absolutely nothing. The Philadelphia Flyers, after Friday came and went and Chuck Fletcher decided to do absolutely nothing, the Flyers booed him at their town hall that they held on Saturday. So the season ticket holders, all got together at the arena or wherever they held the town hall, and they got to talk to Chuck Fletcher. And this is what happened at the town hall.
Oh no.
Hi, Danny. Nice.
Keep it classy.
Did you hear that?
You're in Philadelphia. Learn your fans. This has always been your problem. You just don't get it. Give them what they want.
Season ticket holders collectively booed their GM.
Which, by the way, they're booing ownership.
As we suspect that Chuck Fletcher doesn't have much say in some of the things he does.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yes, no, because every day Chuck Fletcher walks in and he's like, so if you look at the board over here, you can see that we're acquiring. No, he's a marionette. Mm-hmm. It's so confusing that this is how Chuck Fletcher's career is won, because as we established, he was a 25-year-old wunderkind.
You mean his parentage got him a job at hockey.
I did not say that.
Okay.
You know, for you to essentially call him a Nepo baby in front of everybody. Uh-oh. How dare you?
You said the words.
How dare... No, you did.
So there's this... It's a complicated situation with Chuck Fletcher, because there's a bunch of people we suspect in the higher echelon of the Flyers organization who have their hands on what goes on there. Yes. It is not entirely him. And with the ownership situation, it's owned by Comcast, the television company. But there's also like a board who he reports to, and there's also an executive committee within the Flyers organization that gives him some help in the dealings he does.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out exactly where this is, because they have an enormous like Real Sports like place across the street from the arena.
It might be there. It says NBC Sports Arena, so maybe it's like somewhere inside of the arena where they have this facility.
If you've ever been to Philadelphia, they basically have all their sports facilities on different corners of an intersection.
Genius. Great city planning.
It rules. Yeah.
They got the Phillies who play right there, and then they got this one, and they got the Eagles.
I'm sure it's a traffic nightmare, but
yeah, could you imagine?
It rules as a tourist with no car.
This past fall, there was a day where the Phillies played and the Eagles played.
So across the street from each other.
Yeah, they empty out at the same time. I imagine it's brutal. People from Philadelphia, let us know that parking situation, having all three arenas in the same block. Yeah. Let us know, because that's crazy. But anyways, Chuck Fletcher, he's getting a lot of shit. Didn't trade JVR, and there's specific questions about like, why didn't you move JVR? He said he tried. There wasn't a deal for it.
Yeah, there was.
John Tortorella came back out, said that Chuck Fletcher tried. You don't know what's going on. He's obviously doing his best. And also, why are you so upset about JVR not being traded? He's here. It's a good thing. You know, so there's a lot of defense going on of Chuck Fletcher. But to me, looking at it from the outside, looking in, it seems indefensible that they didn't add to their draft capital in a clear rebuilding year.
No, and I said, so when he was like, oh yeah, just the deal wasn't out there, I tweeted, the Preds got 5 picks for Tanner Jeannot, which is wrong. They got 5 picks and a player who was a first-round pick in 2017, right? Now, some Lightning fans took that the wrong way. No. I'm praising the Predators.
Right.
And like Jeannot, like I love Jeannot last year. I don't think he's going to be a 5-goal scorer for the rest of his career. Like, I'm not stoked that the Leafs have to play him in the playoffs. I wanted the Leafs to get him. I just didn't know that was going to be the cost. The reason I brought up Jeannot is when that's the market, and you find out that's the market, and you're able to go out there and do absolutely nothing. The Flyers bought, if I'm not mistaken. Did they not have to give up a pick in order to get Lemieux? Brendan Lemieux for Zach McEwen? Or did they get the pick?
Let me check.
If they got the pick, then it's fine. Jesse's looking that up right now. But, like, what did they do at this deadline other than acquire Tony DeAngelo's friend? That's all they did.
The trades the Flyers made, Brendan Lemieux and a fifth they acquired for Zach McEwen. And they also got a 6th-round pick for Patrick Brown, mayor of Brampton. And that's it. That's all they did.
5th and a 6th. They got less than Bill Guerin did for retaining salary.
And I look at the situation, and all I say is something is more than nothing. You have JVR, who's $7 million.
I thought you were about to say the 5th and the 6th.
No,
I was about to get so rowdy.
I'm talking about their UFA, their big name UFA, plus Justin Braun. He's 36-year-old. I don't know if they get anything for him. 7th-round pick.
Yeah,
maybe.
you do.
But
you do. Like,
something is better than nothing. If JVR is going for a 3rd, if he's going for a 6th, if he's going for 50% retained plus, and you get a 6th-round pick, that is more than just keeping him on your roster. So Flyers fans being upset about him not moving him, I get it.
Yeah. Dude, the Minnesota Wild are in a playoff spot. Chuck Fletcher's former team are in a playoff spot, and they sold off 2 salary retention slots in order to just do good business.
Yeah.
Like, forget buying or selling. They simply did good business. The Philadelphia Flyers don't do good business. We talk about buying and selling, and they should have sold off this guy and gotten picks. They don't do good business. They're not a smart hockey team. They're not a smart organization. That's the long and short of it. I don't know if you want me to expand.
That's it.
I don't have an evaluation of Chuck Fletcher as a general manager. I don't think he's done a day of general managing in his entire career. Mm-hmm. I don't think he's done it. He was a puppet of the Minnesota Wild ownership, and he's a puppet of the Flyers ownership. And, you know, we all got to answer to our corporate masters if we have a job, right? But this dude doesn't do anything. What does he do? The criticism is not he didn't do enough. It's that he did nothing.
Right. And there was at least one clear move to make. You know, that was JVR. That was the clear one. You have a body there who is a UFA. Send him out.
You had a deal, though. You had a deal with Yzerman. What happened?
Right. It felt so. Yzerman, the report on that deal with Detroit, that they were trying to move another deal. So they needed to get something else to happen to make that deal work, and it fell through.
On deadline day.
So
why you left it too late?
Yeah, he's the kid doing the essay before classes due, and he's like, but I need to cite this source, and it's like, why did you leave us last minute?
We knew when the trade deadline was, like before the first flake of snow fell. It was months and months and months ago. Like, that stuff is revealed. It's sometime in the summer, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like a year ahead of time. You know,
he failed.
We know the important things.
He failed, and he deserved to get booed. And I think it's good. It's good people see that in person. And good on the fans for booing him right to his face. You know what I mean? Like, and that, you know, they talked about keeping it classy. They're not going up to him at a restaurant.
No, this is their event to do that.
This is a Philadelphia Flyers event. It's their town hall event. It's where they want to hear how the season ticket holders feel. And the season ticket holders, let them know.
Yeah.
How dare you even reprimand them? How dare you even shush them? Give them their money back.
Let's try to keep it classy.
Yeah, let's try to keep it classy. Let's try to keep it a little cheaper if you're going to build a shitty fucking team.
Yeah, if you're paying for Flyers season tickets, like, you have every right to boo at an event like that. You're unhappy. Let them know. This is the let us know how you're feeling event.
You're not cursing. You're not using rude hand gestures. You're booing.
Boo.
You're booing at a Flyers event for season ticket holders, of which you are one.
Yes.
That wasn't one guy.
No, it's a whole. I don't want to see any pushback on Flyers fans for doing that.
They should apologize for shushing.
Dave Scott, by the way, that's the chairman and CEO of Comcast Spec Spectacor, and the governor. So he's one of the people that's above Mr. Chuck Fletcher. But Chuck Fletcher has a little crew around him, plus people above, and who knows what decisions he's making, what decisions he's not. All we know is
he's a dartboard. He's a professional dartboard. The whole Flyers staff that you have up, you have governors and alternate governors. It's Chuck Fletcher followed by 4 people I've never heard of. He's a dartboard, and he does that job great. He did that job great in Minnesota. Just spend the owner's money. Doesn't matter how you spend it. Just spend it. Spend it like an idiot. Doesn't matter. I told you to spend it. Spend it. And he came to Philadelphia, and he's doing the exact same thing. I said this when he was hired.
Oh, yeah.
Not surprised.
After talking with Lindros and like seeing everything Flyers fans have gone through all season long, I have a special place in my heart for Flyers fans. They don't deserve this. They deserve a good team, and they deserve to be actually rebuilding towards something.
No,
because right now they're not. They're just kind of treading water with this collection of just 4-year contracts of players who aren't really stars.
Yes.
Like it's not good in Philly right now, and they deserve a much better team.
You know, a lot of a very small percentage of people who like listen to the podcast and stuff are like this, but often will criticize a team, and sometimes fans will take that as a personal insult. We're not insulting you, we're not insulting your team, we're insulting not even insulting, we're criticizing the job that they're doing. We hammered the Flyers from the moment the season started onward, and didn't hear a peep. Like it was Flyers fans like, yep, correct.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
You see it a lot on Twitter when a Leafs fan like makes a commentary about another team, and like that other fan base comes back at that person, takes a personal attack. Like, when was the last time you won a playoff series? Like, no, we're not attacking you as a fan.
Yeah.
We're just saying the team did something stupid.
Yeah.
You don't have to come back at us with a personal attack about you haven't won a playoff. Yeah, we know. That has nothing to do with our criticism of the team. Has nothing to do with personally criticizing
67,
you.
74, let's come together.
We get it.
Or however long it's 75. When was the last time they won? It was the 70s.
Last thing. I'm going to hit the press conference button. Because Adam's not here. We get to do the best things that we do. Trivia.
Oh, let's go.
Think you know what way it's going to go?
Yeah.
Make your bet at Sports Interaction, whether it's hockey, basketball, or
baseball.
Baseball's back! Spring training's happening right now. Very excited for the Jays. Jose Bautista going up on the Ring of Honor. Level of excellence.
Ring of Honor.
Level of excellence.
This guy's a wrestling fan.
Bet pregame, live in play, or on one of our many prop bets. Sports Interaction makes it easy to deposit, play, and cash out. Join now and see all that sports betting has to offer. Want to bet? Head to sportsinteraction.com/SDPN, or in Ontario, download the app using the QR code that's on the screen right now. 19 plus. Please play responsibly.
The Presser. SDP. The Steve Dangle Press Conference.
For my first trick, I will drink that entire mini keg.
Nobody can see that.
No one can see that?
No. There's definitely not a giant keg of beer on the table to the left of me. All right, so today I have 2 things for you. One, somebody named Doshi on our Discord in the trivia questions channel, where you ask specific questions about trivia and they throw them. I was perusing it today, and Doshi had something that I thought was absolutely mind-blowing, and I'd never heard of this player or this weird rule. I'm going to ask you a trivia question, then we're going to get into what the correct answer is.
Okay.
I just want to see if you know it. Who holds the record for the largest cap hit in NHL history?
Cap hit?
Cap hit. I gotta make sure I pull up the
so
answer.
Obviously this is salary cap onward era.
Yes.
Because like highest salary, I want to say it's either Fedorov or Sakic. It's like 17 million. It's wild.
Yes. This is cap hit.
Highest cap hit.
Yes.
It's gotta be a player who was bought out. Has to be. Because it couldn't just be Connor McDavid. Right?
Sure. I don't think I'd be asking it if it was Connor McDavid. It's a little too simple.
Is it Ryan Suter?
That is incorrect.
Is it Zach Parise?
That is incorrect.
The highest cap hit.
Yes. In NHL history.
Can I get a clue?
Sure.
Until I figure it out. I obviously just don't know it offhand.
This player played for the Carolina Hurricanes. This contract was signed by Jim Rutherford.
Joni Pitkinen?
No.
I don't no, and he was injured.
No.
Highest cap hit signed by Jim Rutherford to the Hurricanes?
Yeah.
Is it something weird like a kid they signed to a one-day contract or something?
This was a professional hockey player. Currently playing for the Nottingham Panthers in the EIHL.
So he's playing in Nottingham.
Yeah. For the Hurricanes that year, 0 goals, 0 points. 4 PIMs. Nice. Do you want me to reveal it?
I have no idea.
Do you want me to reveal it?
Sure.
Jeremy Welsh.
Okay, sure. I vaguely remember the name.
Probably don't even. It's probably not even the right person you're thinking about.
Probably.
Jeremy Welsh signed a 1-year contract for $925,000.
So that is a entry level amount of money.
League min. But Jeremy Welsh signed this contract on April 7th. So towards the very end of the season.
He's a college guy.
And when you sign a contract at the end of during the season, your cap hit is calculated in this weird way, according to the CBA. So when your cap hit is calculated for 1-year contracts signed after the start of the season, the cap hit must be your total season days divided by season days remaining times your signing bonus plus your base salary.
So what the hell was his...
So Jeremy Welsh has a cap hit of $17.945 million because the cap hit was only for a couple days within the rest of the season.
Did they go over?
So the money he made was only $832,500, $925 plus his bonus, which was $92,500. So he made $925. But
go.
The cap hit is $17.945 million.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'll give you that calculation again. So this is according to CBA.
So this would not apply to a player like Matthew Nyes, who is going to, out of college, sign a multi-year deal. Right?
Yes. This is from Cap Friendly. Thank you, Cap Friendly, for these details. This is if a player is signed to a 1-year contract after the start of the NHL season, that contract is subject to a unique cap hit calculation. A notable aspect of the calculation is that the cap hit value is increased. So here's the calculation once again. The cap hit equals signing bonus times total season days divided by total season days remaining plus your base salary. They give an example. They did a calculation. They didn't use Jeremy Welsh's, but they gave a fake example.
Okay.
So fake player Brogan Rafferty of the Vancouver Canucks.
Let's go.
Is that? I assume it's fake.
I have no idea.
They just wrote it here. Signed a 1-year ELC, let's say on April 2nd, 2019.
Okay.
The contract has a base salary of $832,500, a signing bonus of $925,500,
which is standard.
Yeah, it's $925,000.
Yeah,
you add it all together. Say on April 2nd he signs it. There's 4 days remaining in the regular season.
Okay,
cool. So to calculate his cap hit, you got to take the signing bonus, which is $925,500, times 186, which is the day of the season, divided by 4, which is the days remaining, plus the signing bonus, or plus the base salary, which is $832,500. That'll give him a cap hit of $5.1 million.
So this is all to just prevent like late season shenaniganery.
Exactly.
So there is actually an example of this that I can remember. The difference was the Leafs did it in like late October, early November. Remember, we were at a Marlies game, actually. We were at a like a Dangle Navy Marlies game where we took over a whole section. And while we were at the game, it was announced that the Leafs signed Roman Polak. And Polak, if I'm not mistaken, signed for something like $900,000. But the cap hit itself was like 1.1.
Oh, okay. So this did happen.
This did happen. If you look up, go look up Roman Polak's salary history, you'll find it.
Let's see.
Because his cap hit, if I'm not mistaken, was higher than what the Leafs had actually signed him to. Mm-hmm. And we were all sitting there, all us hardcore hockey fans sitting there going, what the fuck are you talking about? How does this rule even work? Because I want to say that was the year he was coming off the broken leg from the Washington series.
Let's see if I can find it. It would have had to been a mid-season signing.
I was either late October, early November, possibly early December.
It looks like this is the one you're talking about here. It's October 23rd, 2017.
That would be it.
He signed a 1-year, $1.1 million, but it says his salary was $1.1 million.
Nah, it wasn't. It wasn't. There was definitely some shenanigans
I think I
there.
trust Cap Friendly.
No, they're liars.
That would have been the only deal. That's a 1-year deal.
They're liars.
So you might have misremembered that
I might
one.
misremember it. No,
Yeah.
Cap Friendly is obviously brilliant. I'm making fun of myself. That's a weird contract. That's a very weird contract. Do they have a link to like the initial tweet? Fuck. I remember there was something so weird with that Polak contract. There's a reason it was that weird amount of money. Mm-hmm. And it had something
Maybe it
to do
wasn't
with,
this exact calculation. Maybe it was something else.
Yeah, it might have been something else.
But anyways, I'd never known this weird rule. Thank you, Doshi, on our Discord for pointing that out, because that's fascinating.
That's how long is it going to be before someone passes that?
The $17 million, yeah.
You know who it might be? Connor Bedard.
No.
Yeah.
How?
Well, it's going to be several years into his career. And the cap will have to be at a level where it makes sense to pay someone $18 million.
You think he's going to break it just through an actual contract?
Well, someone is eventually going to have to break that record.
Yeah.
And it's not going to happen until like 2030.
Because the cap needs to go up.
Yeah. He needs to get drafted. He needs to play through his ELC.
Win a couple hard trophies.
Yeah. Like Connor Bedard is going to throw up like 300-400 points, making less than $1 million a year against the cap. Well, and then there's his performance bonuses and everything. Mm-hmm. So he's going to be earning like something like $4 million. Mm-hmm. And then he signs his Connor McDavid contract, and it's probably going to be for more than 12.5.
Jeremy Welsh. There's a piece of trivia for everybody out there. He owns the highest cap hit in NHL history. Very fun. All right. Final thing we're going to do today.
No, I wanted to do...
What do you want to do?
Hockey DB, where we look at Jeremy Welsh's English team and we try to see how many names I recognize.
No.
Why?
Oh, this guy played on the Leafs in 2008, and now he's on Jeremy Welsh's team.
You know what's funny? I might actually know someone who he played with.
Do it.
I do.
Shut up.
So he played for the 2008-2009 Oakville Blades, where he played with Lindsey Sparks, who was a player who I interviewed when I was in university. So there you go.
Are you happy?
I am actually very happy about that. And I don't recognize any of the other players from this team.
27 career NHL games. He's still playing.
27?
Yeah, 27 is not bad.
That is not bad.
No. He had a goal. He had an assist. 2 career NHL points.
Look at
12
that.
PIMs.
Look at him go. He is the... What's his... It was Jeremy Welsh?
Yeah.
Where is he? Oh, man. He is not one of their top scorers.
On the Nottingham Panthers?
Yeah.
Ah.
Got to keep those PIMs down, Jeremy.
What league is the EIHL?
I don't know what the I stands for. English something hockey league.
Oh, that's like the English.
Or is it Elite International Hockey League? Well, yeah, Nottingham, right? So I want to say it's had several different names over the year, but I want to say they have teams in Wales, Scotland, Ireland.
I got it here. So if you click the thing, click on DB that says EIHL, it goes to the history. It is the British Elite Ice Hockey League.
Oh, okay.
Formed in 2003. This has only been around for a very short period of time. They have 10 teams. The cities, they have a team in Hull, London, Manchester, Milton Keynes,
I don't know,
Newcastle, Nottingham, Sheffield, Guildford, Glasgow, Fife.
Glasgow?
Yeah.
Glasgow,
Fife, Edinburgh, Dundee, Coventry, Cardiff, Belfast, and this is my favorite one, Basingstoke. The Bison play there.
The Basingstoke Bison. I didn't know that.
Look at this. This is a cool league.
I know about the Mighty Dundee.
Does anybody watch the EIHL? I'd love to know.
Oh, yeah.
Like, do you have a favorite team out there?
I have a... someone gave me a jersey. What's the Manchester team called again?
The Manchester Storm. That's who they are right now. They used to be the Manchester Phoenix.
It might be the Manchester Storm. It's an angry Scot. No, it couldn't be. It's a Scotsman on it. He's got it's black and purple, and he's got a kilt, and he's very upset about it. Here, sorry. Let me look at the list of teams.
Go ahead. It's all in there.
It's not Dundee. It's not Edinburgh. Is it Glasgow? Oh, Braehead Clan. Yeah, it's Braehead Clan.
They're just the Glasgow Clan now.
Oh, okay. There you go. So that's what I got.
This is a good little league. 10 teams?
I keep trying to talk Adam and Jesse and our wallets into a September, like a pre-NHL season trip to Europe.
Yeah, you also have a child. You're just going to abandon your son?
He can come with. No, I want to do like a pre-NHL tour, and the easiest tour I can think of is we'll do games in Britain somewhere and Sweden.
Nice.
This is what I want to have happen.
I'd like to see the Racers.
The race, where do they play?
Are they still? I don't know if they still exist. Yeah, no, it looks like they folded in 2006. Never mind. I don't want to see the Racers anymore.
What did you call the Bison's team?
Basingstoke?
It's Basingstoke.
No, there's no R.
What
is a git?
A git it's like a dummy.
Oh,
basically.
I thought it was like somebody not from England, like a muggle.
Oh, I don't think so. Like a muggle.
Like that's what they call people who aren't from the GB.
Oh my God, Jesse, you're gonna kill me with that. Yeah.
Oh, I listed just all the cities that they've ever had, but some of them so the Basingstoke Bison looks like it ended in 2009.
I was about to say, you listed more teams than the number you mentioned.
Yeah. So Glasgow's still going, Guildford's still going, Sheffield, Nottingham, Newcastle looks like it's over. 2011, Milton's over, Manchester's still going, London's not happening, Hull's not happening, Belfast is happening. Northern Ireland's got a team. That must be fun. The Belfast Giants.
Oh, you know who the head coach of the Belfast Giants is?
Mike Babcock.
Go and look. Go and look. You might recognize the name.
Coach. I don't know if they have the coach listed here.
Oh, they will. Hockey DB? Come on.
No.
They don't have it listed?
No.
Oh.
I can Google it.
It's Sheldon Keefe's brother.
No way!
Yeah. Sheldon Keefe's brother is the head coach of the Belfast Giants.
That's cool.
Yeah, lots of NHLers have gone through there. Theron Fleury, I know, played there. Yeah, a lot of guys.
Oh, they do have it. Adam Keefe.
I
found it. Nice.
That's his brother.
Adam Keefe. Wow. Oh, he's a good player. I used to play for them.
There you go.
So he's their head coach. All right, last thing. Let's get to it. I've wanted to do this for a while. I finally found a reason to. Adam's away. Get that out of there. We're doing NHL Captain's Quiz.
Oh. Okay.
We're going through every team, all 32. You got to tell me who is their captain or no captain.
Oh.
Either give me the name or tell me no.
Okay.
Now, 32 teams. How much time would you like on the clock? Now, you can't get mad at me, compliment section. I'm letting Steve set the time that he thinks he can do this.
Okay, so 300 seconds would be 5 minutes, right?
That's too much.
That's too much?
300 seconds?
Okay, 3 minutes?
No, I said you can pick the time. You want 5 minutes, all right.
No, 3 minutes.
Don't let me convince you.
3 minutes.
You want 5?
3 minutes.
3 minutes on the clock.
No, because it's a time challenge too.
Yes.
So
3 minutes on the clock.
Okay. Can I get answers wrong?
Yes.
Okay.
What's your goal?
All of them.
What?
20.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
20.
Yeah.
In 3 minutes.
Yeah.
3 minutes is quite a long time. I don't know. Seems really easy.
I'm gonna reach across.
20, and you're gonna get 12 wrong?
I don't know. Let's see.
All right. So the goal is 20 correct in 3 minutes, all 32. You get as many guesses as you want. I'm going to get up a scoreboard so I can track because I'm not good. I don't have 32 fingers, so I can't do that.
Are you going to ask me teams?
Yeah, I'm just going to run down the list in alphabetical order. I got it right in front of me. All right. On your mark, get set. Let's captain. Anaheim.
I don't think they have one.
Correct. Arizona. Forgot to ask.
They don't have one.
Correct. Boston.
Bergeron.
Correct. Buffalo.
Kyle Okposo.
Correct. Calgary.
I don't think they have one.
Correct. Carolina.
Jordan Staal.
Correct. Chicago.
Jonathan Taves.
Correct. Colorado.
Gabriel Landeskog.
Correct. Columbus.
They don't have one.
Incorrect.
Oh, Boone Jenner.
Correct. Dallas.
Jamie Benn.
Correct. Detroit.
Dylan Larkin.
Correct. Edmonton.
Connor McDavid.
Correct. Florida.
Barkov.
Correct. Los Angeles.
Kopitar.
Correct. Minnesota.
They don't have one.
Incorrect.
Captain of the Minnesota Wild?
Yeah.
No. It was Mikko Koivu for a very long time. Skip.
Montreal.
We'll get back to them. Nick Suzuki.
Correct. Nashville.
Roman Josi.
Correct. New Jersey.
I feel like they don't have one. Oh, Nico Hischier.
Correct. New York Islanders.
Anders Lee.
Correct. New York Rangers.
Trouba.
Correct. Ottawa Senators.
Brady Tkachuk?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, Brady Tkachuk. He was named last year.
Flyers.
They don't have one.
Correct. Pittsburgh.
Crosby.
And San Jose.
I don't know if they have one.
They do. 55 seconds.
Okay, skip.
Seattle Kraken.
They don't have one.
That is correct. Next up, the St. Louis Blues.
They don't have one anymore.
Correct. Tampa Bay Lightning.
Steven Stamkos.
Correct. Toronto Maple Leafs.
John Tavares.
Vancouver Canucks.
They don't have one.
Correct. Vegas.
Mark Stone.
Yes. Washington.
Ovechkin.
Winnipeg.
They don't have one.
Yes. Now back up. Minnesota Wild.
Who the hell is it? It's not Kaprizov.
And San Jose.
In San Jose. Who the hell is the captain of
Minnesota?
San Jose? Logan Couture for the Sharks.
Yes. One more. You have 10 seconds to get all 32.
Shit. Who the fuck? It's not Matt Dumba. It's not
Minnesota Wild. 2 seconds.
I don't know.
No.
Who is it?
Jared Spurgeon.
Oh, son of a gun! Jared Spurgeon's the captain of an NHL team. That's not my fault.
31 out of 32. You beat the record, your bar of 20, but you could have had all 32 in 3 minutes.
I'm so upset.
That would have been hella impressive. Except Jared Spurgeon exists.
I'm so upset.
That was awesome. That was awesome. At the buzzer, couldn't get Jared Spurgeon. All right, we'll leave it there.
Really? While I'm in shambles?
Jared Spurgeon!
Right in front of my salad. Oh, my God.
How many Wild fans are just yelling at their podcast? Jared Spurgeon!
You know what? Somehow, this is Chuck Fletcher's fault.
The Steve Dangle Podcast.
Powered by Sports Interaction. Want to bet?
Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake. Connection